Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? No, I'm asking. Yeah, we're good? Good. Well, I'm really glad to hear that you're all doing well. Personally, I'm not doing so hot. A little anxious about public speaking, feeling some regret that I probably should have practiced more. I'm also distracted. Spring break is next week, and I'm thinking about all the work that I have to do before then. So there's definitely a lot going on in my head, and it's absolutely going to influence how I am during this speech and probably the rest of my day. Now, I'm sure you weren't expecting that kind of response. It's really uncommon for us to talk so openly and so vulnerably about our emotions. And this connects to cultural display rules. Everyone all over the world experiences emotions, but cultural display rules dictate how or if we talk about them. The American cultural display rule, according to psychologist David Caruso, is one of emotional ambivalence. We don't talk about our feelings much, and when we do talk about our emotions, we always swing towards the positive. On your average day, when you're asked, "How are you?" what do you say? Good. You say, "I'm good," or "I'm great." On a bad day, when you're asked, "How are you?" you say, "I'm okay," or "I'm fine." And according to Caruso, this emotional ambivalence is putting us out of touch with our emotions. We're masking the expression of how we actually feel, and it's depriving our relationships of real intimacy. But that's just one psychologist's opinion, and every culture is different, so does it matter that our culture is one of emotional ambivalence? Well, I'm here to tell you, yes, it absolutely does. Not talking about our feelings is bad for both our minds and our bodies. And I really want to illustrate all of the consequences that come from emotional ambivalence today. When we're not talking about our feelings, our emotions actually become more powerful. Say something happens that makes you angry. Anger is coming into your unconscious mind. When you signal to that emotion, "I can't deal with this right now. I don't have time. I don't want to handle it," you're actually attaching fear to that emotion. That emotion is snowballing. It's festering. And so then if you ultimately do face it, it can now be more consuming. Additionally, when we're not talking about our emotions, we feel more disconnected to the people around us. Humans are very social creatures by nature. We feel close when we have experiential or emotional bonds. But when we're not talking about our emotions, we feel more isolated. We feel like we're the only people experiencing what we're going through. And this kind of social disconnection is very conducive to depressive symptoms. So this fear of feeling and these depressive symptoms are creating a lot of mental stress. And of course, psychological stress is associated with physiological stress. The mind and the body are very interconnected. So when you have a lot of stress going on up here, it signals to the body, things are bad, it's go time, we gotta do something. And so your body starts to release more of the stress hormone, cortisol. Cortisol is very useful in times of fight or flight or in times of danger, but it's not helpful when it's released on an ongoing basis in your day-to-day life. This ongoing release of cortisol can suppress the immune system response, so we're much more likely to get sick with the common cold, the flu, or even something more serious. Plus, this increased physiological stress is associated with hypertension in the body, and that's causing cardiovascular malfunction and disease. So we're very sad, and we're very sick. So what do? Well, we need to start challenging this culture of emotional ambivalence. We need to start facing our feelings. And when you've been out of the habit of doing this, it can be really hard to start. But I want to break down just a couple of steps that we can all start doing more frequently to start becoming more in touch with our emotions. The first thing is to just notice that you're feeling something. And I know that this sounds very simple, but again, when you've been out of the habit, it can be really hard. So all of our emotions live in the body. Maybe your hands are tight, your jaw is clenched, or maybe your body feels a little lethargic, a little tired. Start noticing that your body is signaling an emotion, and just try to accept that that's what's going on and notice it. Second, once you've noticed that you're feeling something, try to remember where it came from. When did this physiological response start? Did somebody say something? Did you hear some news? And then use that to kind of clue in, what might this emotion be? And then third, start using accurate descriptive words to describe what it is that you're experiencing. When you can use accurate description words to describe your feelings, they become so much less scary. They can't overwhelm you if you know what they are. And then lastly, once you know what you're feeling, share it with someone. When you talk to people around you about your feelings, you feel much more connected to them. You feel like you're not alone. And that's a really powerful thing for humans to experience. Of course, if talking about your feelings doesn't feel like an option or isn't really what you want to do, just writing about your emotions is a helpful way to be in the practice of expressing your feelings, and it'll put you on track towards a happier and healthier life. So this is all to say it is really important that we start facing our feelings. We need to start rejecting this culture of emotional ambivalence, and we need to make the opportunities to be more emotionally expressive. And these opportunities might be as simple as the way that we answer the question, how are you? Thank you.